The more your frontline and BSA people understand about how suspicious activity reporting and currency transaction reports fit into the overall equation of tracking down criminals, terrorists, and other bad actors, the more likely it is for your BSA program to be effective. Usually, financial institutions file their BSA reports, but then never hear anything more about the matter. This is part 2 of our 3-part series looking at what can happen to those BSA reports, whether it is a currency transaction report or a suspicious activity report. Let's take a look at some BSA reporting activity that was recently recognized by the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network today on RiskWatch. Welcome to RiskWatch. I'm Dane Bloxham. In this case, large sums of money originating from Mexico were transferred through bank accounts of shell companies in the U.S. The wire transfers resembled pass-through activity because the funds moved through the accounts with only a small percentage taken out for business expenses. One of the main conspirators was a former shareholder of several banks in Mexico and used those financial institutions to make the illegal activity look like legitimate international trade in cell phones. Shell companies in Mexico would acquire counterfeit and obsolete cell phones, create fraudulent invoices showing the cell phones to be brand new, then export the phones to shell companies in the U.S. These U.S. shell companies rented virtual offices and even went as far as to create websites for their shell companies. Once the phones were received in the U.S., the shell companies would ship them to an address in the garment district of Los Angeles. From there, the phones would be shipped back to Mexico and described on invoices as toys with relatively low value. Once the cell phones arrived back in Mexico, they would be shipped to shell companies there, which would then ship them back to shell companies in the U.S. The cycle continued until the companies had managed to launder an estimated $100 million in this trade-based money laundering scheme. Thanks in part to the diligent efforts of BSA personnel, the bad guys were eventually rooted out and received prison sentences ranging from 1 to 7 years. Knowing that SARs and CTRs don't just go into a big dark inbox, never to be looked at again, can help make sure your frontline and BSA team remain alert to those cases that come their way. I'm Dane Bloxham for RiskWatch. Thanks for watching.